Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Badlands Book Club covering Strauss and Howe's Fourth Turning, Chapter 10 this evening. I feel like we should have like a very subtle thing like, welcome to the Badlands Book Club.
Did you do my shroom vibe before the show or something?
I did. Did you see me take one in the backstage? No. I did. I literally took one backstage.
All right, so
while the intro.
Brian's dosed while we read Chapter 10.
It is not.
It's gonna be a good show.
It is not Siley. It is actually it is the proprietary magic mushroom blend. It is
the moment in the show. Brian's like,
be tripping balls in like 5 minutes.
Eat mushrooms.
Do you want to go upstairs and eat mushrooms and do kung fu? Yeah. All right, guys. Welcome to Badlands Book Club. Gonna have a good time tonight. Also gonna try and keep this show a little bit short because we've all got a lot of prep work to do before we hit the roads and the airs tomorrow for GART.
Yeah, but you know
what's that?
After this show, I don't think this is true for you, but for me, after this show, I'm packing up my camera and mic.
Nope. I got daily in the morning and then I'm still going. Still got to work, man. Still got to work.
Yeah.
Bills to pay, country to save.
Do you wish that you had bought gold?
I do.
Because I got to say, Brian, it feels like I have deja vu. Gold continues to hit brand new all-time highs, and silver has surged to its highest level since 2011. In the face of economic uncertainty and overall fear in the markets, people seem to be moving to safe haven assets like gold and silver. Today, we're seeing this not only from hardworking Americans, but from central banks and billionaires too. That's why I've partnered with the award-winning company Goldco. They specialize in helping people protect their savings with real assets, gold and silver, and they make it incredibly simple. Go to badlandsgold.com and learn more. Badlandsgold.com. You'll get free 2025 gold and silver kit, and you could qualify for up to 10% in free bonus silver. Don't wait until it's too late. Visit badlandsgold.com or click on the link in the video description one more time, badlandsgold.com.
All right.
Did you like my segue?
I did. It was very cheesy, but
yeah, success.
All right. And then let's talk about our friends over at Badlands Health.
You could make the argument that the more pharmaceuticals we have, the sicker we get. The more statins prescribed, the more heart disease there is, the more metformin taken, the more diabetes. And trust me, the more Ozempic we take, the more obese we'll get. That's because you cannot medicate a lifestyle disease. But 20 years ago, a study was done on a breakthrough, natural alternative that naturally helps the body shed excess fat. It naturally helps improve metabolic health. There are no drugs in it. It's Big Pharma's worst nightmare, and it's guaranteed to solve the problem. Head to badlandshealth.com to get started.
All right. JN 24750. I love silvers. Me too. And Fat Chance 4K. We will be
4K
here
all day.
Are you guys not coming? Oh no.
Yeah.
Maybe they mean they're going to be at home.
Yeah, they were pretty salty about it on the at least Deb was on the last Zoom that I was on. And I love seeing them.
We will definitely miss you guys.
Yeah, we will be missing you.
So this is going to be a lot of fun because this chapter 10 is called
You're on mushrooms.
It's because I'm on mushroom. No, it's called A Fourth Turning Prophecy, which it's not a prophecy because we're well past
so prophetic
time. So we get to see in hindsight how accurate Strauss and Howe actually were.
Exciting.
So, all right, I'll let you start then.
A Fourth Turning Prophecy. Sometime around the year 2005, perhaps a few years before or after, America will enter the fourth turning. In the middle 00s, America will be a very different society than in the late 1920s, when the last crisis catalyzed. The nation will be more affluent, enjoy better health, possess more technology, encompass a larger and more diverse population, and command more powerful weapons. But the same could be said about every other unraveling era society compared to its predecessor. They were not exempt from the saculum, nor will we be. A spark will ignite a new mood. Today, the same spark would flame briefly, but then extinguish. Its last flicker merely confirming and deepening the unraveling era mindset. This time, though, it will catalyze a crisis. In retrospect, the spark might seem as ominous as a financial crash, as ordinary as a national election, or as trivial as a tea party.
Oh my God. Holy shit. Holy shit. Just think about that. A financial crash, 2008. An ordinary election, Bush v. Gore. As trivial as a fucking tea party.
Which is like 2007, 2008-ish is the early sparks.
It was like the sparks were like, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy. Could it be as ordinary as two planes flying into two buildings, allegedly?
Wow.
It could be a rapid succession of small events in which the ominous, the ordinary, and the trivial are commingled. Recall that a crisis catalyst involves scenarios distinctly imaginable 8 or 10 years in advance. Based on recent unraveling era trends, the following circa 2005 scenarios might seem plausible.
Oh, man. What? Oh, she's dying.
Sorry, I just wanted to clear my throat. Beset by a fiscal crisis, a state lays claim to its residents' federal tax monies. Declaring this as an act of secession, the president obtains a federal injunction. The governor refuses to back down. Federal marshals enforce the court order. Similar tax rebellions spring up in other states. Treasury bill auctions are suspended. Militia violence breaks out. Cyber terrorists destroy IRS databases. U.S. special forces are put on alert. Demands issue for a new constitutional convention. Yeah, I mean, the Article 5 convention thing did pick up, but not the rest of that stuff. Although that seems like something that could happen now. That whole paragraph.
Well, I mean, a state laying claims to its residents' federal tax monies. I mean, I don't know what the residents' federal tax
I'll
monies
give you an example.
Are they claiming?
The federal government did away with tax on tips. So Colorado went to recover that for Colorado state through new legislation. Meaning the tax money is there. It's federal tax money, right? Like, but it exists coming from the people here. So they're laying claim to it. I could see that.
Okay.
A global terrorist group blows up an aircraft and announces it possesses portable nuclear weapons. The United States and its allies launch a preemptive strike. The terrorists threaten to retaliate against an American city. Congress declares war and authorizes unlimited house-to-house searches. Opponents charge that the president concocted the emergency for political purposes. A nationwide strike is declared. Foreign capital flees the U.S.
Well, we got some of it. I mean, the Patriot Act is almost the same thing as house-to-house searches. If you could just infiltrate their cyber, the technology, close
aircraft, right? We have a blown up aircraft,
and they used WMDs as the justification for going into Iraq.
Yeah. An impasse over the federal budget reaches a stalemate. Well, that happens every 5 minutes.
We're in it right now, 35 days.
The president and Congress both refuse to back down, triggering a near total government shutdown. Well, the president declares emergency powers. Congress rescinds its authority. Dollar and bond prices plummet. The president threatens to stop Social Security checks. Congress refuses to raise the debt ceiling. Default looms. Wall Street panics.
Oh, here's the COVID.
I mean, 2008 too. And there have the shutdown thing happens all the time. I feel like they've been threatening to shut down the government for my entire life. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention announces the spread of a new communicable virus. The disease reaches densely populated areas, killing some. Congress enacts mandatory quarantine measures. The president orders National Guard to throw prophylactic cordons of around unsafe neighborhoods, mayors resist, urban gangs battle suburban militias, calls mount for the president to declare martial law. I mean, that sort of happened, but everybody just complied. There was no resistance. What do you think about that one?
I think that if we take all 5 of these and cut out little bits and pieces,
We have now.
that we not just now, but we have the last couple decades.
Yeah, we have the fourth turning.
Yeah.
Growing anarchy throughout the former Soviet republics prompts Russia to conduct training exercises around its borders. Lithuania erupts in civil war. Negotiations break down. U.S. diplomats are captured and publicly taunted. The president airlifts troops to rescue them and orders ships into the Black Sea. Iran declares its alliance with Russia. Gold and oil prices soar. Congress debates restoring the draft.
Hashtag Goldco.
Badlandsgold.com. Get your 2025 gold and silver kit. Yeah, I think you're right. I think when you take all 5 of these and the key crisis triggers, most of them are there, but the context and the way it rolled out are different. But you're right. It's like, you know what it is? It's polycrisis. That's what the World Economic Forum named it.
Yep.
Highly unlikely that any one of these scenarios will actually happen.
I swear to God, I did not read ahead. I swear to God.
So good. What is likely, however, is that the catalyst will unfold according to basic crisis dynamic that underlies all of these scenarios. An initial spark will trigger a chain reaction of unyielding responses and further emergencies. The core elements of these scenarios, debt, civic decay, global disorder, will matter more than the details, which the catalyst will juxtapose and connect in some unknowable way. If foreign societies are also entertaining a fourth turning, this could accelerate this chain reaction. So that's like what Burning Bright calls crisis cascade. And I want to just return to something that you and I have talked about previously. If the regime was trying to hijack the momentum, knowing that a fourth turning was coming, Strauss and Howe gave them a playbook. And based on the results, it sort of seems like they followed it.
Right.
At home and abroad, these events will reflect the tearing of the civic fabric at points of extreme vulnerability. Problem areas where, during unraveling, America will have neglected, denied, or delayed needed action. Anger at mistakes we made will translate into calls for action, regardless of the heightened public risk. It's unlikely that the catalyst will worsen into a full-fledged catastrophe, since the nation will probably find a way to avert the initial danger and stabilize the situation for a while. The local rebellions will probably be quelled, terrorists foiled, fiscal crisis averted, disease halted, or war fever cooled. Yet even if dire consequences are temporarily averted, America will have entered the fourth turning. Or we could just, do a crisis every couple of years. The new mood and its jarring new problems will provide a natural endpoint for the unraveling era decline in civic confidence. In the pre-crisis years, fears about the flimsiness of the social contract will have been subliminal but rising. As the crisis catalyzes, these fears will rush to the surface, jagged and exposed, distrustful of some things. Individuals will feel that their survival requires them to distrust more things. This behavior could cascade into a sudden downward spiral, an implosion of societal trust.
Crisis cascade.
If so, this implosion will strike financial markets and, with that, the economy. Aggressive individualism, institutional decay, and long-term pessimism can proceed only so far before a society loses the level of dependability needed to sustain the division of labor and long-term promises on which a market economy must rest. Well, yeah, we did that. I feel like we definitely did that one. Through the unraveling, people will have preferred, or at least tolerated, this exciting, if bewildering, trend towards social complexity, like intersectionality. But as the crisis mood congeals, people will come to the jarring realization that they have grown helplessly dependent on teetering edifice of anonymous transactions and paper guarantees. Many Americans won't know where their savings are, who their employer is, what their pension is, or how their government works. The era will have left the financial world arbitraged and tentacled. Debtors won't know who holds their notes, homeowners who owns their mortgages, and shareholders who runs their equities, and vice versa. That is wild
because that was the 2008 crisis.
Yeah, and particularly the homeowners who owns their mortgages part, right? Like that's exactly what happens. The selling of man.
Wow.
About the same time, each generation's approach, it was a prophecy, Brian. About the same time, each generation's approach to its new phase of life will set off loud economic alarms, reminding people how weakly their unraveling era nation prepared for the future. The boomers' old age will loom, exposing the thinness in private savings, the unsustainability of public promises. Well, I feel like that might be a little bit of a miss. 13ers will reach their make or break peak earning years, realizing at last they can't all be lucky exceptions to their stagnating average income. Millennials will come of age facing debts, tax burdens, and two-tier wage structures that older generations will now declare intolerable. All these generations enter their crisis constellation. As all these generations enter their crisis constellation, the unraveling will have left government so fiscally overcommitted to sustaining everyone's expectations that initial official responses to these new concerns will lack credibility. Yeah. Subliminal fears will now become urgent. The unraveling era's wry acceptance that people might never get much back from Social Security will crystallize into a jolting new fear that everything from treasury bills to remortgage instruments to mutual funds could become just as suspect. At some point, America's short-term crisis psychology will catch up to the long-term post-unraveling fundamentals. This might result in a great devaluation, a severe drop in the market prices of most financial and real assets. Their devaluation could be a short but horrific panic, a free-falling price in a market with no buyers, or it could be a series of downward ratchets linked to political events that subsequently knock the supports out from under the residual popular trust in the system. As assets devalue, trust will further disintegrate, which will cause assets to devalue further, and so on. Every slide in asset prices, employment, and production will give every generation cause to grow more alarmed. With savings worth less, new elders will become more dependent on government, just as government becomes less able to pay the benefits to them. With taxes hiked, the new midlifers will get to pocket even less of their peak year incomes. With job offers dwindling, the new youth will face even taller barricades against their future. Before long, America's old civic order will seem ruined beyond repair. Wow. People will feel like a magnet has passed over society's disk drive, blanking out the social contract, wiping out old deals, clearing the books of vast unpayable promises to which people had once felt entitled. The economy could reach a trough that may look to be the start of a depression. With American weakness newly exposed, foreign dangers could erupt. From this trough and from these dangers, the makings of a new social contract and new civic order will arise. In the initial jerry-built stages, people will not be entitled, but authorized to receive whatever they get from government. This fucking snap conversation comes to mind. This will lead to a conflict as people do battle to establish where, how, and by whom this authority is to be exercised. This battle could be peaceful, involving political processes, or violent, involving public and private militias. Public needs will assume a new shape and urgency. Old political alliances will be broken and new ones forged, and debates will commence on laws that radically shift the balance between individual rights and duties. National issues will break clear of the unraveling era circus and cast a clear and immediate shadow over the everyday shape of American life. The unraveling era culture warriors will no longer be attacking national institutions mostly from the outside. Come the fourth turning, they will be fully in charge. The culture warriors, the social justice warriors. Soon after the catalyst, a national election will produce a sweeping political realignment as one faction or coalition capitalizes on a new public demand for decisive action. Republicans, Democrats, or perhaps a new party will decisively win the long partisan tug of war, ending the era of split government that had lasted through 4 decades of awakening and unraveling. This is why I think that I think that for my theory that the catalyzing event was 9/11. This is the Obama election and the realignment that occurred in the Obama election, in my opinion. The winners will now have the power to pursue more potent, less incrementalist agenda about which they had long dreamed, against which their adversaries had darkly warned. This new regime will enthrone itself for the duration of the crisis. Regardless of its ideology, that new leadership will assert public authority, demand private sacrifice. Where leaders had once been inclined to alleviate societal pressures, they will now aggravate them to command the nation's attention. The regeneracy will be solidly underway. In foreign affairs, America's initial fourth turning instinct will be to look away from other countries and focus total energy on the domestic birth of a new order. Later, provoked by real or imagined outside provocations, the society will turn newly martial. America will become more isolationist than today in its unwillingness to coordinate its affairs with other countries, but less isolationist in its insistence that a vital national interest not be compromised. The crisis mood will dim expectations that multilateral diplomacy and expanding global democracy can keep the world out of trouble. Even before any conflicts arise, people will feel less anxiety over the prospect of casualties. Old unraveling era strategies, flexibility, stealth, elite expertise, standoff weaponry, and surgical goals will be replaced by new crisis era strategies, mass, intimidation, universal conscription, frontal assault, and total victory. More suitable to a fight for civic survival. By then, people will look back on the unraveling as the time when America evolved from the post-war to a pre-war era. The economy will, in time, recover its early vertiginous reversals. Late in the crisis, with trust and hope and urgency growing fast, it may even achieve unprecedented levels of efficiency and production. But by then, the economy will have changed fundamentally. Compare it to today, it will be less globally dependent, with smaller cross-border trade and capital flows. Its business will be more cartelized and its workers more unionized, perhaps under the shadow of overt government direction. And it will devote a much larger share of its income to saving and investing. Fourth turning America will begin to lay out the next saeculum's infrastructure grid, some higher tech facsimile of turnpikes, railroads, or highways. The economic role of government will shift toward far more spending on survival and future promises, defense, public works, and far less on amenities and past promises, elder care, debt service. The organization of both business and government will be simpler and more centralized, with fewer administrative layers, fewer job titles, and fewer types of goods and services transacted. Meanwhile, Americans will correct the unraveling social and cultural fragmentation by demanding the choice that era never offered, the choice not to be burdened by choice. As people again begin to trust institutional authority, they will expect that authority to simplify the options of daily life. At the store with more standardized products, on TV with fewer media channels, at the office with one pay scale and benefit package, and in the voting booth with one dominant party. Institutions will be increasingly bossy, limiting personal freedoms, chastising bad manners, and cleansing the culture. Powerful new civic organizations will make judgments about which individual rights deserve respect and which do not. Criminal justice will become swift and rough, trampling on some innocents to protect an endangered and desperate society from those feared to be guilty. Vagrants will be rounded up, the mentally ill recommitted, criminal appeals short-circuited, executions hastened. Time will pass, perhaps another decade, before the surging mood propels America to the fourth turning's grave moment of opportunity and danger, the climax of the crisis. What will this be? Recall from Chapter 9 that a climax takes a form wholly unforeseeable from the advanced distance of 25 years. Imagine some national and probably global volcanic eruption initially flowing along channels of distress that were created during the unraveling era and further widened by the catalyst. Trying to foresee where the eruption would go once it bursts free of the channels is like trying to predict the exact fault line of an earthquake. All you know in advance is that something about the molten ingredients of the climax which could include the following. And I think this event was COVID. Economic distress. With public debt in default, entitlement trust funds in bankruptcy, mounting poverty and unemployment, trade wars, collapsing financial markets, and hyperinflation or deflation. Social distress with violence fueled by crisis, with violence fueled by class, race, nativism, or religion, and abetted by armed gangs, underground militias, and mercenaries hired by walled communities. Also, a shit ton of migrant gang members. Cultural distress, with the media plunging into dizzying decay and decency backlash in favor of state censorship. Technological distress, with crypto anarchy, high-tech oligarchy, and biogenetic chaos. Ecological distress, with atmospheric damage, energy or water shortages, and new diseases. Political distress, with institutional collapse, open tax revolts, one-party hegemony, major constitutional change, secessionism, authoritarianism, and altered national borders. Military distress, with war against territories or foreign regimes equipped with weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction wasn't a thing then, was it?
No, not really.
During the coming fourth turning, some of these climax ingredients will play little or no role at all. Others will shoot along channels that swell, diverge, and reconnect in wholly unforeseeable ways. Eventually, all of America's lesser problems will combine into one giant problem. Trump. The very survival of society will feel at stake as leaders and people follow. Public issues will be newly simple, fitting within the contours of crisp yes-no choices. People will leave niches to join interlocking teams, each team dependent on and trusting of work done by other teams. People will share similar hopes and sacrifices, and a new sense of social equality. The splinterings, complexities, and cynicisms of the unraveling will be but distant memories. The first glimpses of a new golden age will appear beyond, if only this one big problem can be fixed. Decisive events will occur, events so fast, powerful, and unique that they lie beyond today's wildest hypotheses. These events will inspire great documents and speeches, visions of new political order being framed. People will discover a hitherto unimagined capacity to fight and die, and to let their children fight and die for a communal cause. The spirit of America will return because there will be no other choice. Thus, Americans reenact the great ancient myth of
Ekpyrosis.
Ekpyrosis. Thank you. I felt like I was glitching out, like my brain. Thus, we will achieve our next rendezvous with destiny. Emerging in this crisis climax will be a great entropy reversal, that miracle of human history in which trust is reborn. Through the fourth turning, the old order will die, but only after having produced the seed containing the new civic order within it. In the moment of maximum danger, that seed will implant and a new social contract will take root. For a brief time, the American firmament will be malleable in ways that would stagger today's unraveling era mindset. Everything is new and yielding, enthused Benjamin Rush to his friends at the climax of the American Revolution. So will everything be again. The prospect for great civic achievement or disintegration will be high. New secessionist movements could spring from nowhere and achieve their ends with surprising speed. Even if the nation stays together, its geography could be fundamentally changed, its party structure altered, its constitution and Bill of Rights amended beyond recognition. History offers even more sobering warnings. Armed confrontation usually occurs around the climax of the crisis. If there is confrontation, it is likely to lead to war. This could be any kind of war: class war, sectional war, war against global anarchists or terrorists, or superpower war. If there is war, it's likely to culminate in total war, fought until the losing side has been rendered nil. It will be its will broken, territory taken, and leaders captured. Yes.
I mean, we're there.
I mean, they would just have to follow through. We're in the red zone. We're in the red zone. We're not there yet, Brian. And if there is total war, it is likely that the most destructive weapons available will be deployed.
What if the most destructive weapons aren't kinetic weapons?
Info war. But it's battle of the mind. And it's psychological manipulation and torture when you consider it as a weapon of war.
Well, this is eerily.
Yeah. With or without war, American society will be transformed into something different. The emergent society may be something better, a nation that sustains its framers' visions with a robust new pride, or it may be something unspeakably worse. The fourth journey will be a time of glory or ruin. The crisis resolution will establish the political, economic, and social institutions with which our children and heirs will live for decades thereafter. Fresh from the press of history, the new civic order will rigidify around all the new authorities, rules, boundaries, treaties, empires, and alliances. The crisis climax will recede into public memory, a heart-pounding memory to all who will recall it. Like if COVID was that catalyst for that final crisis climax, that's starting to be true, right? It's a memory. What they did during COVID, the tyranny that was achieved during COVID, is a memory for people. They're already starting to forget it. The crisis climax will recede into the public memory, a heart-pounding memory to all who will recall it personally, a pivot point for those born in its aftermath, the stuff of myth and legend for later generations. And for better or worse, everyone who survives will be left to live with the outcome. What will propel these events? As the saculum turns, each of today's generations will enter a new phase of life, producing a crisis constellation of boomer elders, midlife 13ers, young adult millennials, and children from the new silent generation. Every generational transfer will contribute to the shift in mood from the unraveling to crisis. As each archetype asserts its new social role, American society will reach its peak of potency. The natural order givers will be elder prophets. The natural order takers will be young heroes. The no-nonsense bosses will be midlife nomads. The sensitive souls, the child artists. No archetypal constellation can match the gravitational capacity of this one, nor its power to congeal the natural dynamic of human history into new civic purpose. And none can match its potential power to condense countless arguments, anxieties, cynicisms, and pessimisms into one apocalyptic storm, which is upon us. Think of all the boomers, 13ers, and millennials you know or know about today. Picture them 10 to 30 years older, pursuing the archetypal paths of ancestral generations during prior fourth turnings. This will be America's next crisis constellation, capable of propelling America into and through the next great gate in history.
I mean, there's some things where they're way off, some things where they're spot on. As to your point on the Obama, the party thing, I think that is what brought about the Tea Party, and I think the Tea Party transitioned into MAGA, and I think that at the end of all of this, I think there will be a consensus that we're all America first, and that will be the dominant party, and there will be inner party rivals. That was just my take on that part right there. I wanted to interrupt, but you were flowing so nicely.
Oh,
so
you could have interrupted. Yeah, I mean, I think it's crystallizing for me, and tell me if this is wrong, because I don't want for it to be my takeaway if it's wrong. But it begins with a crisis event. There's a crisis event to start the fourth turning, and what pulls the people out of it is the crisis climax, so another crisis event. And as we discussed, all of those things in one form or another are sort of present in the past, the 2001 to 2021, we'll go with, right? So 9/11 to vaccine mandates in the peak of COVID.
20 years.
Yeah, it's 20 years. And in it, you have the financial crisis. You have the election. The Obama thing that I was talking about is they describe it as an election that changes the structure and order. And the Obama election did that. The Obama election was, I mean, that was mental in terms of the social pressures, the primitive smurfing, right? The tactics that were used, the use of internet in political campaigning, all those things were new and happening, and it did in the age of Obama until Trump, right? It did in the age of Obama kind of settle in to this new race conscious, social justice conscious. We can't understate the impact of the climate op too, which runs the same path. Inconvenient Truth was like 2004, right? 2004, 2005, something like that. So you have that whole layer of, tactic and crisis. It was a climate crisis. The science is settled. We can't talk about it anymore because it's a crisis. It was polycrisis. We were put into, my son just walked in with a haircut. I think you look good. You look older though.
Oh,
He doesn't
no.
like it. I can tell from his face. He doesn't like it. He
Is
looks
it
mad
Caleb
about it.
or-
No, it's Danny. It's the youngest.
Oh, I don't think I've met Danny yet.
No, you haven't. You've only met Caleb, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that's, the polycrisis thing. So it was 2023, I think, that the World Economic Forum said was the year of the polycrisis. And the way I think they usually do these things is like they're announcing what's already been done, and like they're announcing the new normal when they're predicting something, right? Because it's already done. So it's very interesting how much of this holds up. A lot of this holds up.
A lot.
Yeah.
Boomers entering elderhood, gray champions. Back in 1886, the evangelization of the world in this generation had been the motto of America's post-Civil War youth. From youth into midlife, the missionary generation peers of FDR muckraked, preached an ascetic social gospel, proclaimed a spiritual brotherhood of man, and slapped prohibitions on the wayward in the culture wars of the 1920s. Nearing old age, they looked up at an elder progressive generation whose abiding trust was in expertise, complexity, and what Louis Brandeis called, quote, the process of trial and error. Old progressives battled constantly against the tolls of aging. G. Stanley Hall noting how his peers' faculties and impulses, which are denied legitimate expression during their nascent period, break out well into adult life, falsetto notes mingling with manly bass as strange puerilities.
Pause there for a second, because the mention of Brandeis made me think of something. At this same time, we see the explosion of law that we discussed in Overruled.
Yep.
Right? The expansion of the administrative state, the expansion of the law reaching into that foots with there's going to be a settling in, and people aren't going to tolerate all the things anymore. It's different values and virtues than, say, conservatives hold, but it was very much kind of this religious order type of thing that was also baked in. I've long said that the Obama administration, the 8 years of Obama, was the long march through the institution of the communist takeover. And I think it holds up when looking at it through this.
As the missionary generation supplanted progressives in old age, the persona of American old age shifted from friendly and yielding to stern and resolute. Following the crash of 1929, the new elders dressed dark, filled churches and libraries, and sought by example to persuade the young, in Vachel Lindsay's words, that, quote, a nation can be born in a day if the ideals of the people can be changed. As graying poets and novelists entered political life, elder missionary presidents became stalwarts of first principles. Young people began looking to elders not for warmth and understanding, but for wisdom and guidance. Physically weak but cerebrally strong, Franklin Roosevelt became the leader of whom young men followed, writes historian Arthur M. Schlesinger Jr., quote, as they had followed no American since Lincoln. God, remembered Lyndon Johnson, how could he take it for us all? As the crisis climaxed, the generations tried to deliver what the octogenarian art critic Bernard Berenson described just after World War II as the humanistic society, which under the name of paradise, Elysium, heaven, city of God, millennium, has been the craving of all good men these last 4,000 years or more. This was the last time the prophet archetype entered a fourth turning. Picture veterans at a holiday parade in the late 2010s, marking the Vietnam War's various 50th year observances. Almost forgotten will be the Awakening era's crisp formations of Shriners and bright-colored scooters. Gone, too, will be the Unraveling era's personable Korean War vets with their modest "We Fought Too" buttons. In their place will be bearded old Aquarians in tattered camouflage, their step defiantly out of sync, their eyes piercing the crowd with moral rectitude. You and I are on our way to an unexpected harvest festival, says Craig Carpel to his fellow boomers. In the retirement myth, he likens his generation's coming elderhood to a journey of Owl Mountain, a primordial primordial sanctuary preserved since the most ancient times, sustaining wisdom passed down from villages in the middle of nowhere, speaking to us across the millennia. The bulk of today's gerontologists and demographers do not yet grasp what's coming. Ken Dykewald's age wave and Cheryl Russell's master trend create the impression that boomers will be much like today's busy senior citizens, except better educated, more selfish, and, an easy prediction, much more numerous. This kind of forecast leads to the conclusion that early next century, younger generations will be overwhelmed by extravagantly doctored, expansively lobbying, age-denying old people. To support their consumptive, sharper image lifestyles through old age, boomers would have to impose confiscatory taxes on younger people. This would be an enormous dead weight if it ever happens. It won't.
Remember Sharper Image? Shout out to Sharper Image.
Right?
That store was
That
cool.
was my favorite store, and I could never
Love
buy
that
anything
massage chair.
in there. Way too expensive. All the coolest gadgets, though.
Yeah, for real.
Clues of what old boomers will be like can be glimpsed in the conscious aging movement. Cutting-edge books like From Aging to Saging speak of new spiritual eldering institutes, teaching people to engage in vision quests. These new elders of the tribe see themselves as wisdom keepers who must apply their dormant powers of intuition to become seers who feed wisdom back into society and who guide the long-term reclamation project of healing our beleaguered planet. Boomer gerontologist Harry Moody sees a 21st century shift to contemplative old age that eliminates today's focus on activity and instead transcends doing in favor of being. Elders will be defined as spiritually gifted over their juniors who are too busy to cultivate the quietness and inwardness from which mystical experience is possible. Pain and bodily decline will be accepted, even honored, as the necessary burning off of worldly dross for the purpose of acquiring higher insights.
Yeah, this is absolutely wrong. Like the when you think about the boomers' relationship with healthcare and with, that's one of the features of the boomer generation is the impact on healthcare.
I think you hear a lot of the vanity in like they're accepting it, the fat acceptance. I mean, you guys
they're not boomers. Fat activist body conscious people are not boomers. This is pain and bodily decline will be accepted, even honored, as the necessary burning off of otherworldly dross for the purpose of acquiring higher insights. I don't think we have that. I think we have pain and bodily decline being kind of becoming an idol of sorts, fixing it, becoming an idol of sorts. It's live as long as you can, right? Like you want to live as absolute length, not quality, not impact, not just hold on, white knuckle it for as long as you can.
It's skipped a generation.
Maybe.
Dad bods.
Mm-hmm. In
sharp contrast to the youth emulating uninhibited octogenarians of Gail Sheehy's Silent Generation, these new Earth sages will want to be authentically old people, critical links in human civilization, without whose guidance the young might sink into Philistinism. That's a weird word. But with whom the young can craft what gerontologist David Gutman terms the new myths on which reculturation can be based. A new age gerontology is similarly rediscovering the spiritualism of female aging. In Goddess of Every Woman, Jean Bolin describes gatherings where postmenopausal women enter underground ritual caves. Sitting in a sacred circle in the nourishing dark, they light candles to enable each participant to claim the traditional wise woman as her new self.
I love that you're reading this part.
It's hard for me not to laugh.
Can you start at the beginning of the paragraph and give us a clean cut?
Oh man. A new age gerontology. No, I'm not going to do that. There's talk of stripping negative connotations away from words like crone or witch, as though a withered female body like Grandmother Willow in Pocahontas were a sign of magical knowledge. Boomer evangelicals will join the search for spiritual old age. Do you remember cougars? That emerged in my generation.
Like the women that want to have sex with younger children, cougars?
No, like the younger men that wanted to have sex with older women. That
No, the cougars are the women, Brian.
yes, the younger men wanted to have sex with the cougars.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were saying the cougars were the younger men. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Cougars.
I mean, cuckoo to Mrs. Robinson. I don't think that was invented by millennials. I don't think millennials invented cougars, but nice try, Brian.
MILF and American Pie. They never defined that. So there you go.
Yeah, no, they had you had The Graduate, and then you had the trash millennial remakes of like American Pie.
Yeah.
Cinema brain candy.
I mean, come on. You did get to see Shannon Elizabeth naked. I was not complaining about that.
It wasn't a draw for me.
When I was
none of the guys in that movie were hot. So there wasn't really a draw for women. It was a pretty gay movie, actually.
Shannon Elizabeth was the draw for me. And Blink 182 was in that scene. So that made it even better for me because I was a big Blink 182 fan back then.
They're still not punk.
They're pop punk. Boomer evangelicals will join the search for spiritual old age. Elder conservative Christians will sharpen their sermonizing about good and evil, implant God and prayer in public life, and demand more divine order in civic ritual. They will view as sacrilegious many of the unraveling era's new pro-choice, pro-life cycle laws, from genetically engineered births to non-traditional marriage to assisted suicides. That's on. They will desecularize birth, marriage, and death to re-authenticate the core transitions of human life. Boomer-led niche cultures will seize much of their unraveling era quarreling and find new Oh, sorry, my screen just flashed. Did you freeze?
No.
Oh, okay. My screen, like my peripheral, my screen flashed, and I didn't know what the hell it was.
I want to say before you move on to that next paragraph, Oh, okay. Sorry, we're talking about boomer evangelicals. Okay, got it. I thought that was saying like that was being put on the boomer generation as a whole, and I was going to push back on that, but I realized that.
I think we have a critic.
What happened?
For fuck's sake, now we're into cougars. I hope this is the last chapter.
Yeah. No, Brian thought millennials invented cougars because millennials think they invented everything.
We kind of did. We kind of did.
No, you didn't.
Never heard of it before then.
The term cougar or the concept?
The term cougar. I don't care about the concept.
Oh.
Cougar became common vernacular. What was the common vernacular during your generation, old timer?
No.
You're like 4 years old younger than me.
I'm 4 years older than you, but I think they were called Mrs. Robinsons, to be honest. They were mainly referred to as Mrs. Robinsons.
Oh my goodness. Cougars is so much better. Boomer-led niche cultures will seize much of their unraveling era quarreling and find new communitarian grounds. Ethnocentrics will reveal new civic virtue and racial essences. The fatherhood movement will become patriarchal and feminism matriarchal, demanding and enforcing family and community standards. Active members of these cadres will comprise just a small minority of old boomers, but like the hippies and yuppies of the second and third turnings, they will command the attention and set the tone for the fourth. Those who dislike them, and there will be many, will be unable to avoid seeing and hearing their message. At the onset of old age, boomers will do what they have done every early step of the aging process. They will resist it for a while and then dabble in it and ultimately glorify it. Like old transcendental men who sprouted long beards as badges of wisdom, that's why I grow mine, boomers will establish elegant new insignia of advanced age, flaunting, not avoiding, the natural imprints of time. Rather than trying to impress the young with GI-style energy or silent-style cool, old boomers will do so with Zen-like serenity, a heightened consciousness of time. Slow talking, walking, and driving will become badges of contemplation, not decline. The ideal of an advanced age will not be the active and leisured GI or the empathic and expert silent, but rather the inner elder who thinks deeply, recalling Emerson's view that, quote, as we grow old, the beauty steals inward. The very word retirement will acquire a new negative meaning, connoting its selfish consumption and cultural irrelevance. The elder goal will not be to retire, but to replenish or reflect or pray. The very concept of any retirement will fade as elders pursue new late life careers, often in high prestige but low or non-paying emeritus positions in academics, or they could just, like Ron Paul could force us to work until we're 70.
Yeah. Well, he's
In
trying.
academe, yeah, right. In academe, boomers will become part professor and part spiritual guide in a reinvention of the university. God, that's horrifying. A reinvention of the university as part of the spiritual guide.
We do need a reinvention of the university, but not by boomers, because the rise of the modern university was overseen by boomers, not the evangelical ones, the cultural niche ones, but same.
In church, elders will deliver the fierce homilies while younger adults collect the money, and the reverse of what is common today. Talk radio will be a bastion of elder reflection. Fact.
That one holds up.
Aging boomers will be drawn to the classic. Their late life cultural questing will not evoke juvenescence as it did in the awakening era, but rather a preservation of values that will increasingly seem antiquated to others. Boomers will rail against pop culture, detritus left over from the unraveling, violent films, shopping malls, convenience stores, packaged throwaways. Under their stewardship, Hollywood will establish standards of taste while making definitive films of great literature, biography, and history. That didn't happen. Old travelers will seek self-discovery and wisdom, preferring monastic retreats over cheery cruises, Tai Chi over shuffleboard. Elder enclaves will resemble Sedona more than Sun City, rural hamlets more than condo mini-cities. The gray elite will cluster in areas long associated with this generation: Northern California, the Pacific Northwest, New Mexico, and New England. Boomer elders will still make heavy demands of the young, but the nature of those demands will differ greatly from those imposed by today's elders. Where the awakening era's GI burden the young fiscally, crisis era boomers will burden the young culturally. They will reverse
fiscally.
What?
And fiscally.
Yeah. They will reverse the coin of elderhood from what they will remember of the awakening. Where GI elders once obtained secular reward in return for ceding moral authority, boomers will seek the reverse. Accordingly, grandchildren will not look to them for financial advice, as per GI seniors, or emotional support, as per silent seniors, but rather for guidance in the realm of ideals and values. To young eyes, old boomers will appear highly eccentric. What boomers feel as inner warmth will feel cold to others, and what they see as ethical perfectionism will sometimes strike others as hypocrisy. In the fourth turning, boomers are likely to occupy the vortex of a downward economic spiral. This will happen partly because of their numbers, but mainly because of their location in history and collective persona. As financial expert David Barker observes, the generation born in a K-wave, advanced and inevitably spoiled by the wealth created by their parents' generation, is sure to drive the system over the edge, without the experience of the past decline to provide financial and economic sobriety. Born to the high's new cornucopia, come of age with the awakening's fiscal levers at full throttle, the national economy and the boomers' old age will provide them with a very different endgame. Consequently, this elder generation will get a comeuppance for a lifelong habit of preaching virtues its members have not themselves displayed, or talking more than doing. There will be a payback for the boomers' tendency to graze on a problem until they finally decide to focus fully, at which point their sudden discovery becomes as much the issue as the original problem. Sooner or later, the truth will dawn on old boomers that the money simply won't be there to support their accustomed consumption habits in old age. Neither they nor their nation will have saved enough. From this sudden realization could issue the end game of boomer life cycle consumption and saving habits, the great devaluation. At long last, aging boomers will focus on the hard fact that a newly endangered America truly cannot, and younger generations will not, make their old age subsidies a top public priority. This realization will render boomers jittery about preserving their remaining assets. Some unforeseeable happenstance could spark a precipitous market sell-off, as old investors will want to liquidate their equities to shrinking universe of buyers. The main domestic buyers would be 13ers who will have lower incomes and far fewer assets than boomers and will be of no mind to take risks with wobbling markets. Foreigners will be hesitant to acquire more U.S. assets in a time of pending fiscal crisis, especially since so many of their own societies will be facing similar demographic problems. A brief but precipitous panic could ensue. Years of saving could vanish in a matter of days or hours. The great devaluation is likely to hit boomers just as their first cohorts are reaching the official age of retirement, long before Social Security is now projected to go into official bankruptcy. Indeed, the panic could be triggered in part by the crystallizing financial anxieties of leading-edge boomers. The flashpoint may well occur when the new elder mindset of the 1943 Victory Baby cohort combines with the new demographic realities of the large 1946 baby boom cohort to reach a critical mass. This could occur a few years before or after 2005, perhaps between 2002, when the 43 cohort reaches the IRA distribution age of 59 and a half, and 2008, when the 46 cohort reaches the initial Social Security eligibility age of 62, the age at which over 2/3 of Americans now start receiving benefits.
I'm 65 now, and Rand wants to make it 70.
67. Isn't it 67 now?
Is it 67 now?
It's 67. And they want to make it 70 now.
And they die in office and collect a paycheck and all of their benefits, and their retirement is generational wealth transfer. And also they make the laws under which the rest of us are
and
subjected.
They also know what's coming, so their husbands have better stock trading portfolios than every single.
That's what we call hammer time, Brian.
Hammer time. David DePape, hammer time. I think my page is stuck together here. Unlike their predecessors, boomers will consider their old age finances to be more a private than public concern. For GIs, Social Security has been a generational bond running through government. Its monthly checks a standard issue badge of senior citizen equality. For the silent, Social Security will have been a play by the rules annuity, offering a mixture of delight for sneaking through just in time and guilt for burdening their kids. For boomers, Social Security will be the object of fatalism and sarcasm. Some will get it and some won't. The typical boomer will live on bits and pieces of SEP IRAs, KIOs, I don't know what that is, 401ks, federal benefits, and assorted corporate pension scraps that will vary enormously from person to person. For many, this will add up to a lot. For many others, nearly nothing. What are KIOs? KEOGHs? I don't know what those are. I know everything else.
Keep going and I'll tell you when I have it.
When the market hits bottom, millions of boomers will find themselves at the brink of old age with far smaller nest eggs than they ever expected. They will immediately have to make do with the steeply diminished material consumption. Many will have no choice but to live communally or with their adult children while groping for ways to preserve a meaningful life on very little money. Some without kin will form intentional families, while others who shun neighbors all their lives will form intentional communities.
It is a retirement savings plan for self-employed individuals and small businesses that offers a higher contribution limit than a traditional IRA.
Interesting. Okay. Following the great devaluation, boomers will find new ethical purpose in low consumption because, with the American in crisis, they will have no other choice. If the crisis is not catalyzed before, it will now. With other urgent problems facing the nation, public spending on older benefits will necessarily decline. All the old unraveling era promises about Social Security will now be known to be false, just as most boomers had always presumed. This will create a moral rubric for breaking those promises. A debate will begin about which, if any, of the old promises should still be honored, and what new ones made in the next New Deal among the generations. Where unraveling era Congresses debated over 1 or 2 percentage point differences in rates of increase, crisis era Congresses will debate massive cuts to maintain GI-style elder dependence on the young. Boomers will have to wage political war on their coming-of-age millennial children. It is a war they will not wage and would not win if they did.
Well, they're trying.
They're trying very hard. Instead of political battles with
hang on, the crisis era Congresses will debate massive cuts unless they're fully captured.
Yes, I concur. Instead of political battles with other generations, boomers will engage in moral battles among themselves. Those who retain assets will accuse those who don't of irresponsibility and lack of thrift. Those who don't have assets will accuse those who do of having battened off the corrupt old order. Younger generations will agree with both accusations. In the end, the next New Deal will find all boomers, rich and poor, paying a price. Many who spend a lifetime paying steep Social Security and Medicare taxes will be substantially excluded from benefits by an affluence test. Those who still qualify for public aid will receive a much worse deal than their GI parents did. The debate will rip apart whether remains of the old senior citizen lobby built by GIs back in the Awakening. The AARP will survive only by reinventing itself as a censor of elections, a council of elders committed to advancing the needs of posterity. Modern Maturity magazine will shift its style from silent hip to boomer classic and changes its title to refer to aging in more traditional and less euphemistic terms. Euphemistic, yeah.
Euphemistic, you're right.
Yeah, I thought I was thinking of a different word. The next new deal will render the boomers' old age healthcare subsidies a tightly regulated social decision. Crafting necessity into virtue, boomers will deem the postponement of death as not a public entitlement. Many elders will eschew high-tech hospital care for homeopathy, minimalist self-care, and the mind-body techniques Deepak Chopra calls quantum healing. Med beds. The GI era of extended care facilities with bodies kept busy but minds at rest will be replaced by less expensive elder sanctuaries with bodies at rest but minds kept busy. Despite the boomers' larger numbers and longer lifespans and the costly end-of-life technologies that medicine might then offer, the share of fourth-turning national income that will be spent on federally subsidized elder health care could fall below what it was in the unraveling.
False. Actually, keep reading. I'm going to look it up.
Okay. Federally subsidized elder health care could fall below what it was in the unraveling.
Meaning that we're
spending less now than
spending
we were.
less now than we were per capita adjusted for inflation than we are now. I'm gonna look it up. Keep going.
Okay. Old boomers will construct a new social ethic of decline and death, much like they did in youth with sex and procreation. Where their youthful ethos hinged on self-indulgence, their elder ethos will hinge on self-denial. As they experience their own bodies coping naturally with decline and death, they will expect government to do the same. Wait, deal with their coping and death? Oh, I love that line.
Significantly increased in 2021 and 2022. So yeah, no.
So that did not happen. Old age will be seen as a time of transition and preparation for dying. With the same psychic energy with which they once probed Eros, boomers will now explore Thanatos, the end time, and what the book of Aging as a Spiritual Journey heralds as the final night sea journey that lends an elder the courage and insight to be profoundly wise for others. Their last big chills will not so much mourn journeyed friends as celebrate the after-death teaching their departed souls can still offer the young. Funeral homes will help predecedents prepare posthumous books and CD-ROMs to communicate with heirs in perpetuity. Nice. How about AI?
I love the CD-ROM.
Yeah, CD-ROMs. Jeez. Yeah. We don't even have CD-ROMs anymore.
The tactic is correct, though.
Yeah,
you know, like that's a whole emerging field.
Yep.
The afterlife stuff.
Like coping mechanisms, and I think that's just absolutely sick.
It is. It's if you love your life, you will lose it. But if you lose your life for my sake, you'll get all the good stuff. I forget how that verse ends.
As they fill the upper age brackets, boomers will believe themselves to be elders who, in the words of anthropologist Joan Halifax, function like old cobblers and dressmakers, sewing us back into the fabric of creation. They will feel a new transformative dimension of time, enabling them to craft myths and models that can resacralize the national community, heal its dysfunctions, and grant moral authority for the next golden age. The very otherworldliness of that boomers will regard so highly in themselves will strike younger generations as evidence of incompetence. Elder contempt for this world will strike younger people as dangerous. Yet regardless what you think of these old messages, they will respect their message and march to their banner. Thus will the great champion ride once more. 8 or 9 decades after his last appearance, America will be visited by the figure of an ancient man, combining the leader and the saint to show the spirit of their sires. Again will appear to the heir to the righteous Puritan who stood his ground against Governor Andros. the old colonial governor of the American Revolution who broke from England, the aging radicals of the Civil War who pitted brother against brother with a fiery gospel writ in burnished rows of steel, and the New Deal Isaiahs who achieved their rendezvous with destiny. Whence will come the great champion? Picture the boomer overclass of unraveling, aged another 20 years. Picture William Bennett's Consequence and Confrontation missives, Al Gore predicting an environmental cataclysm, James Webb summoning a ruthless and overpowering retaliation against foreign
Was
enemies.
Al Gore predicting an environmental cataclysm in 1997?
Yes.
He was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not like the same, but I mean, I'm pretty
so
sure.
Much so that it would be the substance of this book?
I mean, he started with that Clinton in 96?
92.
92, yeah. Yeah. So I would say yes. I mean, I don't think that one's like too prophetic. Although it probably wasn't nearly the same as once he left office.
Yeah. Sorry. James
No,
Webb.
you're good. James Fallows rooting for a 7.0 magnitude diploeconomic shock. Apocalypse Darman and Default Newt with their budget train wrecks. Earth First saboteurs willing to sacrifice other people's lives to save trees, and Army of God anti-abortionists summoning the terminally ill to use your final months to torch clinics. Picture boomers like these, older and harsher, uncalmed by anyone more senior, feeling their last full measure of strength, sensing their pending mortality, mounting their final crusade, all at a time of maximum public peril. The full dimension of the boomer persona will only emerge when today's better-known 1940s birth cohorts, whose youth was marked by relatively few social pathologies, are joined in public life by the tougher-willed, more evangelical 1950s cohort, whose youth was marked by many more pathologies. That is the mix that will beget this nation's elder priest warrior persona, vindicating the early unraveling warning of Peter Collier and David Horowitz that boomers are, quote, a destructive generation whose work is not over yet. As the crisis deepens, boomers will confront the result of their lifelong absorption with values. They will have laid a long trail of unraveling era rhetoric, much of it symbol and gesture, but now the words will matter. When James Redfield, or his elder equivalent, describes his peers as a generation whose intuitions would help lead humanity toward a great transformation, the summons will no longer be for pensive spiritual reflection, but for decisive civic action. Boomers will comply with Cornel West's suggestion that the mark of the prophet is to speak the truth in love with courage, come what may. Their habitual tendency to enunciate unyielding principles will now carry the duty of enforcement. The final boomer leaders, authoritarian, severe and unyielding, will command broad support from younger people who will see in them a wisdom beyond the reckoning of youth. In domestic matters, old boomers will recast the old arguments of the culture wars into a context of community needs. They will redefine and reauthenticate a civic expansion crafted from some mix of unraveling era culture conservatism and public sector liberalism. In foreign matters, they will narrowly define the acceptable behavior of other nations and broadly define the appropriate use of American arms. The same boomers who in youth chanted, "Hell no, we won't go," will emerge as America's most martial elder generation in living memory. Whatever the elements of crisis, old boomers leaders will up the moral ante beyond the point of possible retreat or compromise. The same boomers who once chanted, "Ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh, the NLF is gonna win," will demand not just an enemy's defeat, but its utter destruction. They will risk enormous pain and consequence to command youth to fight and die in ways they themselves would never have tolerated in their own youth. They will believe, as did Cicero, that this moment in history assigns young men for action, old men for counsel. Hashtag Dick fucking Cheney. Rest in hell. Old boomers will find transcendence in the crisis climax as they battle time and nature to win their release from history. They will feel themselves in positions to steward the nation and perhaps the world across severe, painful thresholds. It is easy to envision old Aquarians as pillars of fire leading to the promised land, but they just as easy to see them as Sharon-like monsters abducting doomed souls across the Styx to Hades. Either is possible. As the crisis resolves, elder boomers will have not the last word, but the deep word. If they triumph, they will collectively deserve the eulogy Winston Churchill offered to Franklin Roosevelt, to die an enviable death.
Enviable.
Enviable death. Enviable death. Excuse me. Enviable. And viable works too, because you're dying, so you're no
Well,
longer.
that would be IO, not IA.
Inviable. Viability is VIABILITY.
Oh, I thought you were saying like cannot be violated.
No, inviable, like you're dead. Like you're not able.
Well,
to
that word is enviable.
Enviable.
To be envied.
Yes, I got you. An enviable death. If they fail, their misdeeds will cast a dark shadow over the entire 21st century, perhaps beyond. Whatever the outcome, posterity will remember the boomer's gray champion persona long after the hippie and yuppie images have been forgotten to all but the historian.
I'm exhausted. It was exhausting.
Yeah, we've got a lot to go still, so we should probably wrap it there.
Yeah, because we only have 20 minutes and we have, I think, 2/3 of the chapter left.
Yeah. And I want to go see. I want to go watch our saga, our Tina Peters saga.
Yeah. So tune into Alpha's channel. It's starting. It's about 11 minutes in, I think. Missed to see how he did his intro, his monologue with his teleprompter. Beer would be nice. Oh
It is
boy.
very nice. But you know what else would be nice? Being able to run my fingers through my hair. So there's that.
I can do that.
I can do that too, except mine comes out way worse and straggly. I have to reshape it after I do that. Otherwise, I have little dreadlocks coming out of my beard.
Do you want to read the Rumble rant that we have, which is awesome?
Oh, yes. Flying Storm. Thank you so much for why we vote. Elections get busy. I'm out promoting across the country, every stop, city, county, state, East Coast, West Coast. Just got back today, and I vote no on California 50. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Flying Storm. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And I got my voted sticker. I voted today.
I did not vote today.
Did you have elections that you just skipped?
Probably.
Fucking Brian, man.
I don't get involved in local politics, because if I get involved in local politics,
voting in a local election about ballot measures or your school board or whatever is not getting involved in local politics. It's your duty. I voted on 2 taxation measures and school board candidates. That was it. It was really fast.
We did not have elections today.
I
would have seen it. I would have seen it. I actually went out today. I got Taco Bell today. They have flaming hot grilled cheese burritos. It's like my favorite grilled cheese burrito, made even better with flaming hot Cheetos. In the burrito? Oh, yeah. It's fire. I don't like that. Oh, it's fire. I don't like it when they mix the textures like that. You know, like the crunchy taco that's wrapped in the soft taco. I don't like that. Oh, it's melted cheese, sour cream. I did have Taco Bell yesterday, though. I had a Mexican pizza and a half quesadilla. Sounds good. And I left the quesadilla downstairs to do a show. And the reason that I had a half quesadilla is because I left my quesadilla downstairs to do Culture of Change. And when I went back to eat it, it was half eaten. Because I live in the freaking Hunger Games. Well, I hadn't had Taco Bell for like a month. And then Christy brought me Taco Bell on, I think, Sunday. I did a show. And when I came home, she had brought me Taco Bell. Right. She went out to buy stuff, which means you have to pay homage. You know, when you get home, you have to have something to justify going out and spending money. So my favorite thing ever was this morning on Daily, where you're like, well, I never miss Alpha's make sandwiches because I have to make sure that Christy doesn't talk so much shit. I do. I have to make sure Alpha doesn't, or Alpha on Alphas, she doesn't talk too much shit. Alpha always talks shit. She talks the perfect amount of shit. I'm so excited to see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Yep. I'm going to see you tomorrow. I'm going to see you tomorrow. All right. Well, we'll see everybody at GART. Can't wait. All right. We got to get out of here. We have 2 more ads to play. I know. Let's talk about GART. Oh, you do them on the way.
Here on the sun-kissed shores of Cocoa Beach, where the ocean meets the horizon, the Great American Restoration Tour continues on November 6th through the 9th, 2025. Badlands Media gathers patriots like you, not just to talk, but to rebuild. From truth-telling panels to unbreakable bonds, we're restoring the soul of our nation one conversation at a time. This is the heart of the Space Coast, where the rockets defy gravity and dreams touch the stars. Feel the thunder of innovation that powers America forward. Together, we're not just healing the past, we're blasting off into a brighter tomorrow, a future where truth prevails, families thrive, and America leads once more. Join us in Cocoa Beach. Get your seat or your virtual stream pass now at badlandsmedia.tv/events. Launch is imminent, and you don't want to miss this liftoff.
All right, get your virtual or in-person single-day tickets. You get a chance to meet Mama CannCon. She's going to be there, and Ashe's mom is going to be there because both our parents are Florida parents, I think.
I know, our parents are going to meet. That's
I
exciting.
know, our parents are going to meet. And
Jackie's parents are going to be, or mom. Jackie's mom is going to be there too.
My stepdad's going to be there too, but y'all are going to be like freaking out when you see, because like literally they come up to here on me. Both of them come up to here on me. Like they're the same exact height. I think they're both like 5'5", 5'6", maybe.
Oh,
maybe
nice. They're my height. I'm 5'6".
Yeah, they're like 5'5". And so like I stand there like
people.
this. And whenever we go out, people are like, "Is that your son?" And be like, "Milkman." So
Yeah, well, I see a bunch of people in the chat are going. A bunch of people in the chat are, I think Fat Chance is not going, but I imagine that Fat Chance is virtual ticket. So we'll see you in the virtual chat. And virtual chat's great. It's been popping off for about a month now.
what's the what panel are you looking forward to the most?
Oh, it's a hard one. Which panel that I'm on or which panel that I'm going to watch?
That you're on.
Probably Withholding Belief.
Okay.
Radical Doubt, Withholding Belief at the outset, because it's one of the things that, you know, after the the Charlie Kirk thing, when there was pushback against Erica Kirk, it was hard for me to process at first until I kind of went down the rabbit hole philosophically about Radical Doubt and Withholding Belief, and that you know, it's a device. And you know, Chris and I had talked about it a little bit off air of like device versus worldview, right? Like, is it something that you're doing as a tactic to navigate ideas and figure out what's going on, or is it something that you're holding as a worldview? And it's a really interesting conversation, I think. So I'm excited to dig into that. And yeah, Trust in a Trustless Society will also be good.
I'm looking forward to what is 1776.
Yeah, that's Sunday morning. You got the early morning Sunday morning panel.
I got 2 panels on. I'm on both panels on Sunday.
I have no morning panels. That's the one we're on together. Is second panel on Sunday. We're on together.
I'm going to invoke a revolution.
Are you going to go to the Badlands host Q&A, or are you going to skip it and go golfing again?
John made sure I can't go golfing this time. Son of a bitch put me on 4 panels.
We're all on 4 panels.
Oh, we are now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, good. Because
Except
originally
the DPH guys have DPH Live Saturday night as their 4th, but the rest of us are on 4.
All right, I didn't see the addition, so I got to go check. All right, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. We got one final sponsor. Make sure you check this one out, because this is the best way to support Badlands and get badass products, because they're kind of Badlands products. And yes, smash the thumb. See you guys later. I'll see you in person tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Before skincare went synthetic, people used something simple, something real: tallow. Grass-fed and finished beef tallow is packed with vitamins A, D, E, and K. Nutrients your skin actually knows what to do with. It locks in moisture, restores elasticity, and defends against winter dryness. No water, no preservatives, and no BS. Unlike plant oils or chemical creams, tallow mimics your skin's own structure. Elbows, hands, knees, post-shave, anywhere your skin's crying for real moisture. Perfect for gifting or keeping your own skin soft when the cold hits. Visit softdisclosure.com and use promo code Badlands for 15% off. Ancient Care, modern truth.
Soft disclosure.